Professor Bond, and I'm just going to go through some of the lab simulations that we have in the microbiology lab course to offer you some support. They're going to be pretty quick videos, but you can pause them at points that are useful to you. This is on the blood differential white blood cell count. So going back to the beginning to it, I guess I just had some of it. So at first they just have you match some of the different terms if you want to kind of look at that and use it to guide you. These are in your textbook, so there's always textbook alignments to each section of the lab sims. But you can also use external resources from the internet to help you with it as well. There's some good YouTube videos out there if you search it. Then they had you identify some general lab supplies, just matching the terms to it and seeing kind of which one goes where. The sharps container is very useful just as kind of an overall biohazards disposal. So like if you ever have anything that you use in the lab, those in healthcare are very used to using those. Used needles and things like that always go in a sharps container. So that's what that symbol represents, and that's where you put them in the sim. When you actually go through and do all of these steps as well, so just kind of following the steps along. Again, I think the tricky part with this sim, at least maybe the part that's not as user friendly, is once you've used something, just dropping it into here. So like if you've used a slide or something, you have to click it off and then it drops it into the biohazard spot for disposal. So that's true of the regular lab environment as well, okay? And then the part that I kind of wanted to get to is once you've placed your sample on the slide, going through and using this to get some of the images, okay? So I'll kind of move it around a little bit so it's not already set up for us. But at first glance, if you look, you'll notice that we have these tiny little purple. They show up as almost a purplish color. Those are our stained white blood cells. So we stain cells before you put them on a slide that you want to view those a little bit easier. It makes them a little bit easier to see. As you can see, the other ones are red blood cells. Those aren't as interesting to us in this simulation, but they are something that could be interesting in other simulations. We are focused more on the white blood cells, but I guess one observation right away is that red blood cells are a lot more numerous than others. Okay, so looking at this one, the first thing they want us to do is they want us to be on the 4 times magnification, which is the lowest magnification, and we are going to focus that image. Okay, so if you see, I've already actually got it focused. Oh, no, maybe not quite. So this is probably where it's most focused at. You use the coarse focus or the larger knob when it's on lower magnifications. That is, it moves the deck up and down, and that's how you can get a better focused image. Then they want you to take it times 10. Okay, so we're at times 10. It looks pretty good. You'll notice if you click on the coarse focus, it gives you this notification that says coarse focus should only be used at 4 times objective. So that's true of microscopes when you use them in the lab too, is that you only use the coarse focus when you're at lower magnification. So we're only going to be using the fine focus. Looks like getting the best image is probably about there. Okay. So then it wants us to take it to the 40 times. So we'll take it all the way up there. It looks pretty good. So again, if you try to use the coarse focus, you're going to get this alert, exit out of it. Use this fine focus knob that's right below it. And that should take it to here. Okay. So now we have, I think, a good image. Okay. And it does say to move the upper, move to the upper left corner. So we'll do that here. You can move the stage with these little buttons right here. So we are going to move it to the upper left. And we have now some samples that we can look at. It is going to ask you some conceptual questions. I have those already answered, so it's not going to ask me those. But it's going to ask you about some of these cells. They're multiple choice questions. You do have to go through and answer those. Now, for the lab data, I won't necessarily go through all of it, but I'll show you how to get it here quick. Okay, so once you've answered the conceptual questions and you've gone up to that corner, you can now start counting cells. So for example, like this one, it matches that specific type. And then it asks you a couple things here, like what do you expect to find the most? And I'm going to run out of time on this video, but answer that conceptual question and basically go through and move this slide around and count what cells you count. Even if your count's not 100% right, it will let you progress on. It's going to make you count 50 white blood cells and try to identify them in these categories. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different types of blood cells that it could be. And then once you've done that, that will be the end of the simulation. I'll ask you some conceptual questions and things that you'll have to look up. But outside of that, Again, if you've got any questions about any of these simulations, feel free to chat me, and I can make one of these quick little videos on them so that it can help you through some of the, at least the lab techniques. Have a good one. Bye.